Welcome to All About Art. My name is Alexandra, and I'm an art historian, curator, and writer. Within this podcast, topics relating to art history, cultural policy, the art sector, as well as a large range of other art-related topics will be covered. Conducting critical discussions, having entertaining exchanges, or just enjoying some relaxing chats, All About Art is where you'll find it all. Join me in exploring and developing cultural discourse. Hello and welcome to another Art News Recap. Today I will be discussing the month of March 2021. We started off the month with a bang when graffiti was discovered on an old prison in the city of Reading, England, and Banksy confirmed that he was behind it. There is currently a debate surrounding the old prison if it should be sold for housing or if alternatively it should be used as an arts hub. This may actually be a really good opportunity to bring some cultural regeneration into the neighborhood, and using buildings that were formerly used for other things has proven to be a really good way of doing that, with one of the biggest examples being Tate Modern, because it used to be a power station, or for example in Finland, a space called Capelli that previously was for industrial use, but was then redeveloped into a cultural hub with artist studios, events, and more. But anyway, back to the actual graffiti. It shows a prisoner escaping, and the prisoner is cascading down the wall using some sort of sheets or cloth, possibly bed sheets, tied together. And at the bottom, hanging below him, is a typewriter. And this seems to send the message that Banksy supports the decision to turn the old jail into an art center. So, I guess we'll see how it develops. And I also think that this could be a statement on defunding the police, and as an extension of that, defunding prisons, to then redistribute those funds to other essential social services like education and mental health, which can often be improved through arts and culture. But, this is my personal interpretation. I may be wrong, so let's just take that with a grain of salt. On the topic of mental health, though, the World Health Organization and a coalition of cultural partners have launched a call to action to urge the arts in countering the mental health crisis of isolation, anxiety, and bereavement caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It started off with a week of virtual talks at the end of March, collaborating with my alma mater, University College London, as well as Tate, the Castello di Rivoli Museum of Contemporary Art in Italy, the UK National Centre for Creative Health, the Hospital Rooms Charity, and the Saudi Philanthropic Foundation called Community Jameel. Christie's, the auction house, has held a contemporary art sale for which works were donated by artists such as William Kentridge, Anthony Gormley, Martin Creed, and more, and the funds of this auction went to the World Health Organization Foundation. These funds are intended to be used to combat struggles with mental health within the community and to encourage treatment and recovery. And included within this is the process of the applied use of arts. It's also going to use an implementation of socially engaged art projects, which is something that can help with community well-being, as well as general mental health improvement and awareness. All right, on to the next article. A few episodes back, if I'm not mistaken, it was last month's Art News Recap, I spoke about stolen artifacts, and here I am speaking about it again. The Humboldt Forum in Berlin will not show its Benin bronzes because they were allegedly looted from West Africa during the 19th century. The museum stated that it will either show replicas or nothing at all, leaving blank spaces. Even more, they have begun to seek the return of the bronzes, with the German government meeting with the Nigerian government to talk about it. So for those of you who may not know too much about the Benin bronzes, they were in a group of artifacts taken from the Kingdom of Benin in 1897, which is now Nigeria. Other artifacts were taken as well, and some have also ended up at the British Museum. I feel like the British Museum should really be taking these steps, but I haven't heard of anything happening lately on their end. Do let me know if I'm wrong, but The British Museum has been awfully quiet over there with their Benin bronzes and their Parthenon marbles. And I mean, if the Humboldt Forum is taking these steps in the right direction, in my opinion, I don't understand why the British Museum is so hesitant on doing that. I mean, there have been calls to action and outcries towards the British Museum for years and years and years to return the Parthenon marbles, for example, and the same situation with the Benin bronzes. And I really don't understand why the British Museum is handling this situation in this way. Or, I mean, they're not really saying anything from what I understand. And I mean, I didn't research this in great depth, but when I did look into it a little bit, just in the scope of this podcast, I didn't really find anything that would indicate that the British Museum is intending on returning any artifacts that have been asked of them to return. So, yeah, I don't really agree with how they do things or how they're doing things right now. But, yeah, well, let's just move on to another article. I found this one really interesting. It's about how the Serpentine galleries in London have taken the Sackler name off of their space. So sponsorship and funding are incredibly important in the arts. As she casually hints to anyone listening, maybe wanting to sponsor this podcast. No, anyone? Oh, I'm just kidding. Kind of. But okay, back to the moving away from the shameless plugging. It has become increasingly more and more important that sponsorships align with the ethos of institutions. And for example, it's not typical that sponsorships will be accepted by tobacco companies, for example. Or there's also the well-known situation with oil company BP and Tate, which was met with protests and tweets and major outcries. So they ended up ending their partnership in 2016. For those who don't know, the reason why there is a lot of pushback against institutions having these financial connections with the Sackler family is because they have been accused of profiting off of the opioid crisis. Their company, called Purdue Pharma, is the creator of the painkiller Oxycontin. And nearly 50,000 people died from opioid-involved overdoses in 2019 alone. These prescription pain meds are highly addictive. The company did actually also plead guilty to federal criminal charges for their part in the opioid crisis. So yes, Serpentine, take that name off. I mean, not that they needed a guilty federal charge to take the name off, but, you know, it's about time. Because Tate and the National Portrait Gallery did so in 2019. So I do definitely agree with the decision. Right. So I'm currently on a roll with talking about kicking problematic people out of the arts. And so the next article that I want to talk about is in the New York Times, and it's all about how Leon Black is to step down as the chairman of the Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, in New York. And again, it is because of shady financial ties. He didn't have ties to oil companies or pharmaceutical industries. I mean, okay, he may have, but that's not why he's being asked to step down. Oh no. He had ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, he isn't stepping down right now, but he's not running for re-election in June, apparently. In addition to that, he will apparently also remain on the board, even though he will step down as chairman. But a lot of artists and activists are escalating the situation and arguing that he, and frankly other board members, should be stepping down altogether. Now, I don't know exactly what the specific arguments are for getting various board members to step down or not wanting them to be in those places of power within the arts, but I have mentioned before in other episodes the concept of gatekeeping and who gatekeepers are. And these board members are gatekeepers. They decide things that have an influence on the art world. And in my opinion, it's really important to choose who is sitting in those places of power and who is making these decisions. And I mean, let's be honest here, more often than not, it is extremely tied to money. And I think that that's something that we need to start to rethink. Sure, easier said than done, but these financial ties to shady people and this shady behavior is just, it's not okay. It's not okay anywhere, let alone in the arts. So, I mean, this is not just for museums. And so it does sound a little bit like I'm talking about some ideal world where, shady people aren't in power. But the thing is that, it's a museum and there are so many amazing, talented, intelligent, very competent people who could really be doing good and making the arts a more diverse and equal place. And so I really do think that these are the people that need to be brought forward and need to have a say instead of people who are getting called out on their shady financial dealings with convicted predators. And instead of me kind of bumbling my way through trying to explain it, I'm just going to read a wonderful quote by artist Michael Rakovitz. And it popped up in the article, and I really find that it says it all. So I'm just going to read it. MoMA has refused to comment on every story that has emerged about Leon Black. The museum stays silent while we as artists are asked to speak. Beyond speaking, I look forward to collectively imagining an ecosystem that does not enlist our content to go on display in institutions whose board members create the very conditions in the world that many of us are devoted to dismantling. I think that really says it all. But yeah, now this has all been pretty critical, so I do want to finish on a nice positive note. Researchers have uncovered a 3,200-year-old mural in Peru. It is of a zoomorphic being and indicates that it could be a temple used thousands of years ago as a ceremonial center. I saw this article on Art News and on the Art Newspaper, and Art News titled their article, Archaeologists Find 3,200-Year-Old Mural in Peru, Shedding New Light on Pre-Columbian Culture. And the Art Newspaper's headline is Knife-Wielding Spider God Mural Found on Ancient Peruvian Temple, which, I mean, let's be honest, it sounds way cooler. Regulo Franco Jordan, who is an archaeologist working on the project, said that the spider in the mural is associated with water and that this was a really important animal in pre-Hispanic cultures, and that there was probably a sacred water ceremony held between January and March when the rains came down from the higher areas. And another article that is associated with that, this article came out in October 2020, so it's not very relevant for this month, but I discovered the article while I was reading about the knife-wielding spider god, and it's also from the Art Newspaper, and it's about a massive ancient cat image also discovered in Peru. It was found in Peru's Nazca Lines, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's 120 feet long, and it appears to depict a massive lounging cat, basically. Not only do I find it incredibly fun in a very contemporary context, but the thing is that it's very, very interesting and educational to learn about previous cultures and ancient Peruvians who would scrape away at dark earth of the mountain and reveal the light sand underneath. And archaeologists believe that these figures, these different zoomorphic symbols, acted as wayposts for travelers and, as I mentioned before, sites for rituals. Anyway, that is it for today. I really hope you enjoyed my March Art News recap. And as always, please let me know what you think. Give me feedback. I would love to have some discussions about repatriation of artworks or, of large zoomorphic images popping up around the globe. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And that is it for today on All About Art. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a rating or a review as it helps more people discover the show. Also, feel free to share with your friends, or if you share on social media, tag me and get in touch. Thank you so much for listening.